This channel is supported by Truefire. Truefire is an online library of
You can get the Truefire All Access Pass for as cheap as they ever do it, the $99 thing. So just jump and do that if you're looking for the best price that you can get Truefire All Access for. So I saw yesterday that a post had come up that Bill Finnegan, the Klon Inventor, was taking Behringer, Music Tribe, whatever you want to call them, this is a huge multinational corporation thing, to court over the Centaur pedal. And I was really surprised today because buddy Tim dropped me a message on Facebook, and he said, "You're getting mentioned in this lawsuit." So it's not really about me, but at the start of my video talking about this Behringer thing and cloning and all of that, I did say, my name's John Cordy and I work for Behringer. Now, Mr. William Finnegan, I don't work for Behringer. I do start off my videos occasionally with a thing that I don't do, like I'll say I'm a debt collector, or people ask how I make my money. I'm a funeral director. That's one of the sorts of things I do. I don't actually work for Behringer, obviously. But it's quite an interesting one. I thought it might make an interesting thing to talk about, because I did say in that video where I think it must really suck to be cloned in this way, and Behringer have done it in such a way that actually Bill Finnegan is able to put together a case where I think there are so many examples over like the last 10 years. I think it's since 2015 that he's actually had a trademark for this. I think that was what he said in here. Anyway, like, there is a lawsuit that you can check, but essentially the clone has been cloned by everyone and their mother. There's been J-Rocket, there's been Cherrytone, there's been the JHS not a clone, and it turns out that what you really shouldn't do would be to copy the actual trademarks, which are the bits of a pedal that you can protect. So you can either protect code, from what I know, or you can protect, you know, like the image of a centaur with a sword on a horse. You can protect that, and you can protect the name Centaur. So it's kind of really weird that Behringer have done this in a way, because they're so used to cloning stuff, and really these manufacturers having no recourse at all. But it's kind of an interesting thing. So I hope Bill gets what he wants out of this. I think at the end of the day, what he's asked for, if you skip to the end, it seems like the case is fairly solid, except for the inclusion of me as an employee of Behringer. I don't think I'm getting sued. But yeah, so Centaur itself was trademarked in 2015, or filed for it, and registered in 2019. And so people can't use the word Centaur on a pedal. That's the whole point. And awarding Klon statutory damages of up to $2 million per counterfeit mark, or alternatively ordering defendants to account and pay to Klon all profits realised by their wrongful acts, and also directing that such profits be trebled in accordance with Section 35 of the Lanham Act. Recoverable damages up to 3 times and where provided under Massachusetts law. Punitive damages to where they are entitled under applicable federal and state laws. There's 8 counts here of what. So count 1, trademark counterfeiting. Count 2, trademark infringement. Count 3, trademark and trade dress infringement, false designation of origin, passing off an unfair competition under Section 43 of the Lanham Act. Common law trademark and trade dress infringement, common law unfair competition, trademark dilution under MGI, false advertising, unauthorized use of individual's name, portrait or picture. And this is really the crux of it, is that because they've used the name Centaur, and used the image, the claim is that this has been sort of passed off as something that had Bill Finnegan's blessing. And this is the difficult part for me about this, which is like, we're so used to companies copy, like Bill Finnegan has had it up to his eyeballs like for years, like people cloning his pedals, and he's up till this point really had no, because if they do it in a certain way, like the actual circuit itself cannot be protected in this kind of way. So maybe this is his chance to get some of what was owed to him all along. I think JHS in the Ross pedals thing had something kind of quite, I think, revolutionary at the time, which was that he was paying a royalty to the Ross family, or the folks that own the Ross trademark. Now, he needn't have done that if he had just not used the actual Ross logos, right? And similarly, I believe that MXR, because they've done stuff with Paul Cochran, with the Timmy, and with Analogman, right? I'm assuming that in those cases, you have like both sides kind of happy with this kind of cloning arrangement. That to me seems to be the most ideal way to get from boutique to mass manufactured in a way that is kind of win-win. Like you have a win-win-win, because the customer ends up getting like an approved clone, which is sending back money to the original creator, such that there is an original pedal, which I guess is another question. And then also, you know, the customers are getting a boutique kind of design for less money than they would have to pay for the boutique thing, if they can get it, or if there's a wait list. And then also the actual company making these pedals kind of has the blessing of the person that they've collaborated with, like Paul Cochran or Analogman Mike. And that seems to be like the overall kind of best case scenario in this sort of thing, accepting that I think we're used to the idea that there really isn't too much original in the guitar pedal world. Like in drives particularly, like there seems to be this sort of, it's like water, right, where it started off with a tube screamer or a Boss OD1, flowed into an Ibanez tube screamer, flowed back out to a Boss SD1, and then you just go on and on and on. It's like these pedals over time, like passing off slightly modified pedals has been a thing for ages. But the thing that Behringer normally do is at least try and sort of get over this in some sort of way by having their logo on it, Behringer, and not using the actual name, which is where they come up a cropper here. So it's very interesting. I guess this will be interesting to see what happens. Turns out that Music Tribe, which I think is the name of the Empower Tribe, they're based in Abu Dhabi. Yeah, I don't know. This seems to be one of these things where William Finnegan is based in Boston. How does this kind of stuff work? You're going to need to speak to someone who actually knows how this sort of stuff works. Does it seem like the sort of thing that Behringer could get away with? Do they just... Because I don't think it's necessarily properly out there yet. This is like the other thing with Behringer, where they do these kind of vaporware type releases where it's like it's not out yet. So do they just cancel this on, because they've already been sent a cease and desist in January, I think it was, that they said, presumably have decided not to bother. And I guess, yeah, like I say, for me it'd be really I think quite nice to see Bill Finnegan actually get some of what's due to him when there's been so much of like his design getting essentially ripped off for decades now, and it's kind of just, let's see where this goes. I don't work for Behringer. Promise. Catch you in another video soon.